The night was calm, and I was lying in bed, waiting for sleep to take over after a long day. Everything in the house seemed quiet, the kind of silence that usually brings peace. My wife was already beside me, scrolling on her phone, but I noticed she kept turning the screen slightly away, as if she didn't want me to see what she was doing. I brushed it off at first, thinking maybe it was nothing more than a casual chat or some social media distraction. Still, something about the way her fingers moved quickly and her eyes sparkled with a secret smile made me restless. I turned to my side, pretending not to care, but deep down, the unease began to grow. For months now, she had been distant, avoiding conversations, often claiming to be too tired for family dinners or too busy with errands. I wanted to ask her directly, but every time I tried, her answers were short, dismissive, and carefully chosen. She made me feel like I was overthinking. I closed my eyes, convincing myself not to spiral into doubts. Just as I was about to drift off, there was a soft knock on the bedroom door. At first, I thought I was imagining it, but the knock came again, slightly louder. My son's voice followed, uncertain and low, asking if he could come in. My heart skipped a beat. It was unusual for him to approach me so late at night. I sat up quickly, told him to come inside, and saw him standing at the door, nervous, his face pale as if he had been carrying a burden he couldn't hold anymore. He hesitated, looking first at his mother, who was now staring back at him with wide, cautious eyes, and then at me. He opened his mouth, closed it again, and then took a deep breath. My instincts told me something was wrong, something I wasn't prepared to hear. I tried to calm him, telling him he could say whatever was on his mind. He shifted uncomfortably, glancing at his mother again, then whispered that he needed to talk to me alone. The tension in the room thickened instantly. My wife frowned, trying to mask her nervousness, but I could feel her unease. I led my son out to the hallway, my chest tightening, my mind racing with possibilities I wasn't ready to face. Standing there in the dim light of the hallway, my son avoided my gaze for a moment before finally speaking. His voice trembled as he told me he had followed his mother earlier that evening. I froze. He explained that she had said she was meeting a friend, but something in her tone didn't sit right with him. Curiosity, or perhaps a son's instinct, made him trail behind without her knowing. He described how she didn't go to the friend's place at all. Instead, she met a man at a cafe. He painted the picture with painful clarity. The two of them sitting close, laughing as though they shared a private world, hands brushing, lingering touches, and expressions that spoke of familiarity far deeper than friendship. I listened in silence, each word cutting deeper than the last. My son hesitated, his voice almost breaking as he confessed he hadn't wanted to see more, but when he realized what was happening, he knew he had to tell me. My mind went blank, and then all at once, it filled with a flood of emotions, anger, betrayal, disbelief. A part of me wanted to stop him, to refuse this reality, but I couldn't. I asked him if he was certain, and he nodded, his eyes filled with both guilt and pain. He said he didn't want to be the one to break me, but he also couldn't carry the weight of the secret any longer. I put my hand on his shoulder, trying to stay composed, though inside I felt my world collapsing. The thought that my wife, the woman I had trusted with everything, could betray us like this was unbearable. I told my son to go to his room, assuring him he had done the right thing. He hesitated, then hugged me tightly before leaving. I stood there alone, numb, the silence of the hallway suddenly heavy and suffocating. When I walked back into the bedroom, my wife avoided my eyes, pretending to adjust the blanket as though nothing had happened. I didn't confront her right away. Instead, I studied her movements, every gesture, every expression, now tinted with suspicion. I tried to control my emotions, but inside, I knew something had been broken beyond repair. That night, lying beside her, I couldn't close my eyes. My son's words echoed relentlessly in my head, keeping me awake, staring at the ceiling, knowing a storm was waiting to break. The next evening, I couldn't hold it in anymore. I watched her throughout the day, how she avoided conversation, how she spent extra time locked away with her phone, how she pretended everything was normal. By nightfall, my patience reached its end. I sat across from her and asked, calmly but firmly, where she had been yesterday. She froze, her expression shifting quickly from surprise to irritation. She dismissed my question with vague words, claiming she had just visited a friend, nothing more. I looked directly into her eyes and told her I already knew the truth. Her defensiveness grew sharper, insisting I was imagining things, accusing me of being paranoid. I stayed silent for a moment, then revealed that our son had seen everything. Her face drained of color instantly. She looked away, her lips trembling, and for the first time, she had no ready excuse. After a long silence, tears welled in her eyes. She tried to downplay it at first, saying it wasn't what it looked like, that she had only been talking to someone. But when I pressed further, she broke down. She confessed that she had been meeting this man for months, not because she didn't love me, but because she felt unseen, unappreciated, and lonely. She said she craved attention, affection, the feeling of being desired again. Her words pierced deeper than any blade. I sat there, listening, my heart torn between fury and despair. I wanted to shout, to demand why she hadn't spoken to me instead, why she had chosen betrayal over honesty. She sobbed, insisting she never wanted to hurt me or destroy the family. She claimed it was only emotional, not physical, though I could barely believe her. To me, betrayal was betrayal, no matter the form. The woman I thought I knew, the partner I believed in, had been living a secret life behind my back. My chest felt heavy, my thoughts chaotic. I didn't know whether to leave, to scream, or to cry. Instead, I sat in silence, letting her confession sink into the cracks of my breaking heart. That night, I didn't sleep. My wife lay beside me, quietly sobbing into her pillow, while I stared at the ceiling, haunted by every word, every image. The house that once felt like a home now felt like a stranger's place, filled with secrets and pain. The next morning, my son avoided both of us, his eyes lowered, burdened by the truth he had revealed. The air was thick with tension, the silence louder than any words. I couldn't look at her the same way, and she couldn't meet my gaze without guilt flooding her eyes. I spent the day lost in thought, weighing my options. Part of me wanted to walk away, to end everything, to free myself from the pain. Another part of me, bound by years of love, memories, and family, wanted to hold on, to believe that forgiveness might be possible. I thought about my son, about the scars this would leave on him, about the broken trust he had witnessed. I realized that no matter what decision I made, things would never return to the way they were. My wife tried to speak throughout the day, apologizing, begging me to understand, promising change. But trust, once shattered, cannot be rebuilt overnight. I listened, but my heart remained guarded. I couldn't give her an answer yet, couldn't decide whether to forgive or to let go. All I knew was that our lives had changed forever the moment my son knocked on my door. As night fell again, I stood by the window, looking out into the darkness. The silence was heavy, the weight of betrayal crushing, but I also felt a strange clarity. Life had shown me the painful truth that love without honesty cannot survive. Whether I chose to stay or to leave, one thing was certain. I would never forget the knock that opened my eyes to the reality I had been blind to. That night, I understood that trust is the most fragile thread in any relationship, and once broken, it leaves scars that last forever.